have a bit of a different style of video for you today. So the scope of my channel is healing. My goal is to create content that helps facilitate healing in your life. So I think it's really important to share about the mindset shifts, the concepts, the understandings that I've developed that have helped to facilitate healing in my life. I'm also in a very unique position in that I have clients. I work with people one-on-one. So I'm able to apply some of my learnings into their context as well. And when I find that doing so also results in healing for them, it kind of makes me think I've stumbled onto something that could be very, very important. And that's what I want to share with you today. One of these concepts that I kind of stumbled on that completely changed my life, completely changed my wife's life, and has changed many of the lives of my clients as well. And this is a concept called polarity. So the idea of polarity is that we live in a dualistic world. So we have light and dark, we have up and down, we have left and right. These fundamental principles are yin and yang, also known as masculine and feminine. And if you look at this big picture, I don't think it's very hard to see. Everything in this world is made with its equal. The oceans have the land, the day has the night. And even in nature, we have two sexes, the male and the female, them generally embodying the masculine and the feminine. And this is something that was very interesting for me for a very long time because I felt like there was something there. But the time that this really started to take effect in my life and actually resulted in healing outcomes was when I was able to take these principles and apply them to relationship dynamics. And what this means is that masculine energy in a relationship wants something from feminine energy, and feminine energy in relationship with masculine energy wants something from masculine energy. Now, the most common place you see this is in relationships between men and women. Men generally tend to embody the masculine, and women generally tend to embody the feminine. And if you want to have a polarized relationship, which is what I would say is kind of the goal of this concept of polarity, is to have a polarized relationship, then what you find is the relationship is fulfilling for both individuals. And there's that spark, that fire, that passion that is very often lost in, you see this often in longer term marriages or when kids come into the picture or just when time passes. We have this spark in the beginning and then sometimes this can be lost. And what I'm going to encourage you to do today, or invite you to do, is to see that this spark that I'm talking about, this is polarity. And if we can understand what that spark is, if we can understand polarity a little bit more, it can completely change your relationship. And this is great in itself. You know, if as a wife you feel like you've become the mother of your husband, if you feel like you're nagging him all of the time, if you feel like you want him to take you on more dates or like buy you flowers or do things, cherish you, to feel inspired to do things that create this sense of attraction and spark in the relationship. Or if on the other side of this, as a husband, you feel like your wife is nagging you all the time, she's judging, she's criticizing, you don't feel like there's any space for you to take the lead. Probably either you end up fighting all of the time about what seems to be the silliest things, or these fights just push you apart. And then you're in this almost like avoidance state. And that's not really what you'd imagined the relationship being like. These consequences on both the masculine and the feminine side are the most common consequences that I see as a result of depolarization in the relationship. So we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into these dynamics, and we're going to look at what's happening versus what should be happening in a polarized relationship. And we're going to try and figure out, how do we get back there? But I just want to tie this back into this healing, first of all, because this is really important and this is great. If you have a relationship dysfunction, it's really, really going to improve this. But I also want to take a look at the physical health impact, because as I said, I'm here to facilitate healing. That's my job. That's why I make these videos. And having a good relationship is great and it's going to help you heal and all of these things. But when these energies are not flowing correctly, they create disease in the body. If you think about all of the symptoms you'd associate with low testosterone, so this could be sexual impotence, lack of arousal, male pattern baldness, gynecomastia, developing the man boobs. These tend to happen to men that are living in feminine energy instead of masculine energy, as they're sort of, let's say, designed to do. And this results in a lot of symptoms as well, like low motivation, depression, like a lack of ambition and drive, a lack of healthy aggression. So aggression for a man is actually really important. This is what makes you go out and grab the world and say, I'm going to make this world into the world that I want it to be. This is the energy that, again, that helps me make these videos. Because if I didn't have that ambition there, that healthy aggression, I wouldn't do it. I got my sofa there, just go lay down, just relax, just take it easy. But no, I need to be here. People need me. You need to see this video. So I need that healthy aggression. And in women, this just completely devastates the reproductive system. I see this over and over again. PCOS, irregular periods, heavy menstruation, even things like endometriosis. These are like classic women living in masculine energy consequences. And I've seen this over and over and over again. This was me. This was my wife. This is a bunch of people that I talk to. Now I've seen this pattern. I see it over and over again. I could recognize it over and over again to the point where I really felt like I had to make a video about it. Because not only do I want you to have great relationships that feel amazing, where you have great sex and you go on dates and family life is just amazing, but I also want you to heal. That's the most important thing. And if these energies are not working correctly, you're cut off from your instinct, you're cut off from your essence. And that's where healing comes from. Healing is this upspring, this fountain of youth, this revitalization that flows through the body. And if these energies aren't flowing correctly in relationships, it's compressing all of this down. It's dampening the instincts. We're not truly being embodied or authentic, and that's going to cause disease. So I'm just introducing the topic to you today, but I want to give you a tool set so that you can go away from today's video and actually start doing this. And the best way to do this is to do it relationally. So this all starts with something called polarized communication. This is understanding how masculine energy communicates and feminine energy communicates. I think probably the easiest way to explain this conceptually is to think about this from an energetic perspective. So to break this down to its most simple essence, feminine communication is non-penetrative. So what this means is, imagine this is the feminine. Whenever it communicates a statement, whenever it expresses itself, it's communicating it in relation to itself instead of pushing it out of itself. For example, a communication, something like, I feel cold, is feminine communication. It's purely expressing from within and without pushing the energy out. I feel cold. So the energy is just connected to the I, the individual, the self, and then you are expressing something within that realm. I feel cold. To communicate something similar from a masculine energy, it would have a penetrative energy. So this might look like, can you close the window? Please close the window. You can see how the energy, instead of it being contained and expressing the feeling of this energy inside of the self, it's pushing the energy outside. It's pushing the energy outside of the self and potentially even into another. And if you think about it, think about it from the most fundamental, like the most basic childish way, that you can. If you look at sex, the penis goes in the vagina. That's it. That's the fundamental premise here. It's penetrative, and that's what sex is. And this is a physiological manifestation of this energy dynamic that I'm explaining here. So if you want to apply this to your relationship all the way up, we have to follow this same principle, which means that feminine communication can only be communicated about the self. There is no penetration. And masculine communication is penetrative. It's always pushing the energy outside of itself. Another way that I like to think about this is to look at the relationship between a mother and her child. Because in this context, there is no sexuality. And it could also be a mother and a female child. So we're also getting rid of this idea of men and women. It's not about men and women. It's not about sex. It's about the principles of these energy dynamics. And in the case of a mother with the child is the feminine energy and the mother is the masculine energy. So what is expected in this dynamic is the child will just communicate from the point of itself. And this is what children do. A child doesn't come to you and say, I'm hungry, give me my bottle. They just come to you and say, I'm hungry. And they're like, this is the problem. You figure it out. You fix it. This isn't my problem. I've got this issue and I'm just going to give you this issue and you need to find the solution to it. And that is how feminine energy communicates. If there is any leading, it's then becoming a masculine communication. I feel cold. Can you close the window? That has now become a masculine statement. Or again, in the case of the child, I'm hungry. Give me my bottle. This is masculine energy. Now, the place I see this dynamic between masculine and feminine energy, the most dysfunctional, is in that of the relationship between a husband and a wife, or a boyfriend and a girlfriend. What I see almost like as a pattern on repeat is that the wife feels like she's doing everything. She feels like she's doing all of the chores. She feels like she's never getting given flowers or taken on dates, or like the man does not care about her at all, and there is no connection there. And then she's nagging him. Can you take the bin out? Can you do the dishes? But can you hear how in these statements, these are penetrative statements. Can you do this? Can you do that? You. It's pushing the energy out. And any man that is in touch with his masculine instinct will feel repulsion anytime he is penetrated by his wife, because the polarity is wrong. And this is why when a woman communicates to her husband, can you do the dishes? The man will often respond with irritation or frustration, and it will not be received well, because it's leading him. It's taking away his sovereignty over his decisions and his actions. And it basically causes him to have to submit. And men don't like to submit, especially not to their wives, because that's not how polarized energy dynamics work. I can remember these are issues that we struggled with all of the time in our relationship. And I was trying to figure out, okay, I want to be there. Like, I want to take care of these things that are causing my wife distress. But when she tells me to do them or asks me to do them, this is frustrating. This is annoying. I don't like it. So I tried to figure out, how can we change this dynamic so that she can get her needs met, but without telling me what to do? And what made the difference here, what really changed things forever, was when she would communicate in a way that was a leading masculine energy. I was able to correct that communication into a feminine expression, where instead of this energy that was contained coming out and penetrating out, can you do this? Can you do that? The you is the energy pushing out. She was just expressing what was going on in her little bubble. So this would be something like, I really want to do the dishes, but I can't stretch to the dishes. I already have this project and this project. I'm feeling so overwhelmed. I just can't even focus when there's just so much mess here. And when she would communicate something like that to me, what do you think would happen? Do you think it would result in the same irritation inside of me? No, it was completely different. This is the way that I would describe it, as felt as a somatic experience, was I could feel this fire light in my belly and my spine just straightened up, my chest puffed out, and I was like, I will. It's like this hero energy, like, I'm here, I will save you, I will protect you, I'm attuned to you, I want to take care of all of your problems. And it was like, whoa, now I'm doing all of the dishes, and instead of it being like, I feel like basically like her little bitch, like her good boy, like doing what she said, it's like, oh, I feel really powerful, this feels really, really good. And it came from her communicating this in a way that I was actually able to understand. And this was just one example. There are hundreds of different examples, but the idea is to try to change the trend of how this communication style works. So it's really important, in my experience, that the woman in the relationship learns feminine communication, because masculine communication comes more naturally, at least in the society that we're currently living in, because it's a corporate dominated world, capitalism, profits, and especially like feminist movements and things like this, they tend to be like pulling this masculine energy up in women. But it's also really important on the men's side. Men are very emasculated. There are a lot of like estrogenic compounds in the food and like plastic clothing, and it's kind of like almost like beaten out of us like early in life. Like, I can remember being at school, like I was scared all the time. Like, I was basically just afraid always. And there's this just big spectrum, like, feminization of men. And then you've got this lack of confidence, this lack of leadership, this drive energy that the feminine energy wants, and it needs to feel safe. So that masculine energy won't like take action, it won't take responsibility, it won't lead, it won't move things forward, it won't progress. So then the feminine energy is like, what the hell's going on here? We're not moving forward. I'll move us forward. And then it moves into the masculine. And then the polarity dynamic swaps around completely the other way, and both are unhappy. Both, they hate it. Now, all of this to say, if you're in a relationship where the polarity dynamic is swapped and you're both happy, no problem whatsoever. You do that. This world is a crazy place where anything can happen. And if those inverted polarity dynamics work in your relationship and you're happy, then don't change them. But this video is for people like me and my wife. So I was sick, chronic health problems, chronic fatigue syndrome, disabled. In many ways, when I met my wife, she was kind of like my mum. She was like my carer. I really depended on her for my survival. I trusted her judgment. She drove me around in the car. She took care of everything. But this was not good for me long term, and it's also not good for her. It led to PCOS and insulin resistance and all of these basically masculine hormone driven issues. The testosterone levels are higher. And why is that? She's embodying masculine energy. And for me, the testosterone levels lower, estrogen levels higher. Why? Embodying feminine energy. And the relationship was good. There was love there, but the spark was dead. There was no polarity. There were no flowers. There were no dates. She was nagging me to do things. I wasn't moving my life forward. I wasn't moving our relationship forward. And we were both unhappy. So this is how we changed it. We tried to understand this polarity dynamics and move into our appropriate roles. You would think that this is more of a husband-led thing, as in masculine energy is the initiating energy. So I said to my wife, look, I think this is the right path. I think we should try to work on polarity. Would you be willing to follow me with this? And she said, actually, I think this is really what I want as well. And it's lovely. It's inside me. It's brought out so much strength, so much charisma, so much leadership and forward moving energy. And this has helped my physical health so much. And for her, it's created this softer, sweeter, more delicate, like flower-like aspect to her, which is just beautiful. It's really lovely to see. And it's also very difficult because almost by reflex, my wife is very, very giving, very, and can be very depleting of her own cup. So she's giving a lot, and a lot of that energy is coming out. And it's been very difficult because I now see it as my role to say, look, Joanna, you are doing this. You need to stop doing this. Contain your energy. She doesn't always like that. That's hard. We've had fights about that. But over time, she's seen that I'm right about these things, and her holding her energy, she's feeling better. She's seeing improvements in her health. I'm seeing improvements in my health. We're seeing improvements in the relationship. So I really just felt like I had to share this with you because this has been completely life-changing for the both of us. And I'm now doing this with some of my clients as well. When it becomes apparent to me that there is a dysfunction in the relationship that is a causal factor to chronic health problems that they might be experiencing, we can then take a deep dive and look at these polarity dynamics, figure out where is the dysfunction and how do we correct it there. Because again, as you probably well know, I'm very root cause orientated. We need to find the root cause of the problem and fix that cause. And if the root cause of your chronic health problems is messed up polarity dynamics, if you do not fix the polarity dynamics, you will not heal. That is simply how it works. If you do not fix the root, you will not get the healing outcome that you're looking for. So I'm really not sure how this video is going to land because it's kind of a little bit different from a lot of the other things that I've done. So if you watched all the way to the end and you liked this video, I really need to hear your feedback. I really need to know that you liked it, because traditionally, when I do videos that are slightly different, they don't perform very well. Not many people watch them. The YouTube algorithm doesn't pick them up and it doesn't show them to many people. So if you like this and if you found this interesting and you want me to do more videos about this topic, I need to hear from you, because if this video doesn't perform well and people don't like it, I'm not going to talk about it. But if this is something that you like, I have a lot of video ideas about this. We could look more about feminine communication principles, the masculine communication principles, what a husband wants from his wife in a polarized relationship, what a wife wants from her husband in a polarized relationship. I could really go into this in a lot more detail, and I do think it's really important. There's no point in me making videos that people don't watch. So if you want to see those videos, I really need to hear from you in the comments below. So let me know what you thought. I'm really genuinely interested to hear. Let me know if you agree with this or if you've experienced anything like this. Let me know if this is completely new, but you love the sound of it or you hate the sound of it. I'm really just putting my feelers out in this video because I need to kind of figure out where you're at to decide if this is the kind of content I should be making right now. So let me know if you have any questions. If you want me to take a look at this in the context of your relationship, shoot me an email, support@williamdickinson.co.uk, and please do leave me your feedback, your opinion below, because I'm really, really interested to hear. So that's everything from me. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.